Yo, homeboy, where you been, man? We been looking for you. Yeah, we ain't seen you around Burger World lately. So where you been, huh?
Oh, around.
Want a piece of pizza? Think I got an extra piece around here somewhere.
Oh, that's okay, thanks.
Yo, ding dong, man. Ding dong, yo.
No, thanks, really.
Yo, eat this, man. It's good for you.
I'm not really very hungry right now.
Hey, man, what it is with you? You on some kind of diet? That what they teach you that little sissy school of yours?
Back off me, man. Back off.
The question is, are you fat or what?
Leave me alone.
I said, are you fat?
Get off me, man. Stop it.
You ain't down with us no more. You ain't fat.
You ain't fat. You ain't fat. You ain't nothing. You ain't nothing.
Your butt is wide. Well, mine is too. Just watch your mouth, or I'll sit on you. Because I'm back, back, back. Shimmy, back. You know I'm back, back, back. You know it, back. You know I'm back, back, back. Come on, you know. Don't you call me Patsy for me or stop to tell me once again who's fat.
It's not my fault, I'm fat. I don't know how to I don't know how to look in the viewfinder. Is it there? I don't know. It's gonna be weird. Okay, maybe I'll just look like off in the distance. Look around. I don't know. So I wanted to hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Angey Lee, and I wanted to get into today. My thumbnail was complete clickbait. If you didn't figure that out, I am on a weight loss journey. Through most of my life, it has been a very big yo-yo dieting and very much of yo-yo weight, up and down and up and down and up and down. And I've finally consistently been losing weight since working with a dietitian, working on my relationship with food. All the food that you saw in that picture, it either belongs to my son, or I bought specifically for the thumbnail. So, and I'm sorry, my voice is starting to go. I'm getting a little sick. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so I wanted to come on and talk about all the different misinformation that I grew up with, believing about weight and my weight gain and everything like that. I will put in some pictures here. These are my family members, so, and this is only a few of them. Many of my family members are obese. Not just overweight, but obese. My uncle, unfortunately I don't have a picture of him. He was always obese, and after his mother died, well, we thought that he took care of his mom, but it turned out she took care of him. After she died, he could no longer function. Shortly before she died, the home that they lived in, they had to get the doors expanded, like made wider, so that he could fit through the doors, because he could no longer fit through the doors. And then after she passed away, he refused to let anybody into the house. Things got really bad, and we ended up finding out how bad it was because he also turned to alcohol quite a bit as well. So everybody kind of just distanced themselves because he got a little crazy. And I was just a kid at the time. I couldn't help. But when he ended up having a medical issue and had to call an ambulance. And the ambulance, they had to break part of the door to get him out. Before they would put him in the ambulance, before they would even put him into the ambulance to take him to the hospital, they spent 4 hours washing him. That's how dirty he was. They cut his shirt off of him that they thought was gray. It was white. He was living in trash, literal trash. There was particles flying in the air. That's how dirty it was. He had mice, field mice, in the chair that he slept in. He could no longer fit into the bedroom, so he slept in the living room on a reclining chair. And he had field mice all throughout his house. It was just gross. So I spent most of my life being told and believing that weight was a big part hereditary. So watching everybody struggle so much with weight in my family and believing that other people's families ate the same way that we did, but they were thin, you know, that's what I believed. That's what I grew up believing, that weight was hereditary. I started watching, a few years ago, Michelle McDaniel. And I will link her at the end of this video. She's absolutely amazing. If you have not checked out her videos, I highly recommend them. So when I started watching her, I started learning more about the fact that it's not necessarily weight that is hereditary, but diet. Yeah, our regular meal was your average, you know, American, Canadian, whatever, Western cuisine. I totally lost where I was, and that happens a lot. I get easily distracted. So yeah, okay. Western cuisine was what we what we ate. But my family also had pizza every single Friday night. We went camping almost every weekend, and we went camping. We always had extra treats. We always had cookies and ice cream in the house all the time. You know, like we had stuff, pop. Oh, the pop. My dad drove for Northern Bottling, so he delivered Coca-Cola. So we had Coke products in our house from the time that he got that job when I was a baby, so all through growing up. And they say that Coca-Cola and pop is addictive, and I can attest to that yes, it is. Very much. That's one addiction that I still have to battle. It's one that I'm very, very, very slowly working on, but it's not a priority. There's so many other things in my life that are a priority, even above food, because most of my life I've suffered from severe depression, so I don't talk about mental health lightly at all. So I spent the majority of my life just trying to want to be here let alone caring about the body that I was in. So that's a big part of why, or how I got to where I'm at now. But I've been working really hard on my relationship with food and trying to get more active, and I'm losing weight. My goal is not weight loss. My goal is health. All around health. Healthy mentally, healthy physically, healthy all around. And I'm not in a huge rush to get there because it took me a long time to get here. I don't expect to get healthy overnight. So I do work on my relationship with food. I do allow myself a treat once in a while. It's not a daily thing anymore. It's not a weekly thing anymore. I don't snack all evening long. I was never really much of your typical binger, but I was a steady snacker. Come the evening, I would snack and snack and snack. Well, before that, I was a very heavy alcoholic for quite a few years. So I would drink a lot, and then I would eat quite a bit at the end of the night, so that I didn't get really sick in the morning. That was kind of like my preventative. And if I started getting sick while I was eating, I knew I drank way too much. That's kind of how I lived my life, and it was not a good time. And I pay for it now. I really do. I have a condition called Hashimoto's disease. It is an autoimmune disease that slowly attacks your body. One of the first things that it attacks is your thyroid, which of course is what controls your metabolism. So it makes it harder to lose weight. It does not make it impossible. It is not impossible for me to lose weight, but it is harder. And I've got a bunch of other issues as well, which if you've seen any of my past videos, I've gotten into, and as my videos go along, I'll get into more about the issues that I've dealt with and that I deal with, and it's all related to being obese the majority of my life. I started gaining weight in puberty. I kind of gave up because before that I was very strict with, as much as I could be, with what I ate. I tried to limit myself with the little bit of knowledge that I had. But then when puberty hit, I started feeling fat, and I was getting up at like 6 o'clock in the morning before school and working out. And then I was in martial arts in the evening, so I did that 3 nights a week. Plus I was in other sports. I was in basketball and stuff like that, and I was still gaining weight. So though I was, like, looking back at those pictures, I wasn't gaining weight. I was getting thicker. I was becoming a woman. But to my eyes, I was gaining weight. I was exposed to a lot of pornography at a really young age, so that was my view of what I was supposed to look like. So when I started going through puberty and my hips started getting bigger and I started getting, bigger thighs and my body started to change, I started to feel really fat. So some girls go anorexic. I gave up. I pretty much gave up completely. I started drinking, I started doing drugs, I started smoking when I was 11. I quit smoking 5 years ago now. I quit drinking 4 years ago now. You know, I did get into really hard drugs for quite a few years. That I quit that 16 years now, 16 years ago now. So that's kind of giving a little bit of what my age is. I grew up in the 80s, not the 90s. So yeah, that's kind of my story on that. Because I was misinformed, and that's a normal, common thing. That's not my family's fault. There's better information out there now. We just got to get it out there. We got to get it out there, and we got to let these girls in the fat acceptance movements know that, honey, you might be fat and healthy right now in your 20s, but when you get to your 30s, your body starts to shut down, and your brain, like in your mind, you're young still, but you're not, you know. Like, I would have given anything to have been able to have had more kids or even adopted, but that's not a reality for me because there's no way that I could keep up with a child. It was hard enough when I was 25 and 26, 27 with a toddler and being obese. There's absolutely no way that I could do it now. So, such is life. Gives us some, I don't know. But obviously I still have a lot to work on mentally, as well as physically. And this channel's about my journey, as well as having a little bit of fun too. So watch out for those videos as well. Anyway, I'm gonna end this here, and we'll chat later. Bye.